Hello, everyone, and welcome back to
The Lo and Zoe Show.
Today, we are going to just be having an open conversation about how we feel the universe works and how we create it, and also where divine intervention might come into play.
Yeah, essentially like our will and our manifestations, our creation versus the universe's overall plan for us.
Yeah, our destiny, if you will.
Destiny, if you will, yeah. And we really don't have like one way in which we view this. We're not even really sure what our stance on it is, and that's why we thought it would make a good conversation.
Yeah, so let's get into it.
I'm Lo.
And I'm Zoe, and this is The Lo and Zoe Show.
We're coaches and entrepreneurs who firmly believe that an abundant mind is the key to an abundant life.
On this podcast, we're going to be talking everything from how to manifest more money, travel, success in business, and beyond,
to overcoming the blocks that are holding you back,
to rewiring your brain so you can easily attract whatever it is you want the most in life.
If you haven't already, be sure to join us inside our Facebook community, the Queen Mind Tribe, for daily tips, mindset hacks, manifesting tricks, and more that'll allow you to build the confidence you need
to manifest the abundant AF life you deserve.
Now let's get started. Okay, so today, like we said, we're talking about the topic of divine intervention, and I think also just like the idea that the universe has a plan for our lives, right? And where we stand on this. So, and how we kind of use our, if you will, our relationship with the universe to benefit us, and where we take responsibility versus just surrendering everything.
Yeah,
right?
definitely. I definitely go through phases with
Yes.
this as I learn about new concepts, and I love to learn about all different types of things. I mean, Gaia is a great place. YouTube's a great place to go down these rabbit holes of understanding new ideas about why we're all here, really. I mean, lately we're on this hologram tangent.
Yeah.
And it's really fun. But also, I personally feel like I have a relationship with the universe where I openly, verbally ask questions. Like, I have conversations with the universe, and it's going to sound really,
Oh, no, I love it.
really out there, but
Yeah.
I do this each
We
morning.
all do, though. That's the thing. Whether you realize it or not,
Yeah.
you are saying, please God, or you're saying,
Yeah.
like,
Please, universe, like,
please,
show
universe.
me
Yeah,
the way.
Exactly.
But like I have actively asked for like intentions or answers to questions like, universe, is this the right thing for me? If not, take it away or really show me that it's meant to be here. So I will command essentially that I want guidance, and the guidance comes very quickly because I'm open to it and I'm like expecting to receive that. And the thing is that then I wonder about creation as like, I couldn't have created this answer for myself. Like, I created a answer, but I didn't have any, which way. I was just open to seeing where the synchronicities were going to show up or what was being presented to me. Does that make sense?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I think for me, like Zoe said, I go back and forth a lot. And in the beginning of sort of my venture into conscious creation and manifesting, I really viewed the universe almost as just like something that was very matter-of-factly, like you get what you think about, period. And I still predominantly hold that view of like the world is our hologram, or the world we create our own reality. But I've definitely used my relationship with the universe, if you will, as a tool, like what Zoe says, or as just like a source of comfort.
Yeah.
Right. So.
And I mean, well, just as you're saying that, you're identifying that you're more on the side of like the conscious creation.
Yeah.
And I would say I'm more on the side of the relationship that I have with Source.
Which is sort of surrendering your wants and desires a little bit to like what is best for me. Whereas I'm more sort of the personality type of control, and I don't know, control has such a like negative connotation. I really don't mean that.
I would say just like you're ambitious about your creation.
And I get excited when I am working towards something specific. So like in October of last year, Zoe and I did something that we called Open October, where we essentially just allowed what was meant to come to us to come. And I actually really embraced this. And it was a big step for me to just like let go of the reins for a little while. But for me, what I found was that I fell out of alignment with myself because I wasn't really working towards anything. So I didn't feel excited or empowered. I was just sitting around waiting for the ideas to come to me. Whereas like this month I'm launching a program, and I'm just like, so I'm stepping into like that energy. I'm stepping into that way of being. I'm setting intentions. I'm visualizing every day. I'm out there taking action, and like it all just feels so exciting and so good
And
to
so
me.
fun.
And fun. It's fun. And I think for me, a big part of it is like, as a business owner and someone who like has big goals, I want a reason to continuously step into that powerful way of being.
Yeah.
Right. And if I'm not working towards something specific, then I'm just not doing that. I'm almost like sitting back and just waiting, and it doesn't feel empowering for me personally. And
Yes.
I think that's just about who I am.
Yeah, and I can relate to that too. I mean, especially with like Open October, I definitely feel better when I'm at coffee shops working rather than like this whole like waiting thing.
Yes.
But where I would say is like I'm never, I don't know, okay with the waiting or like almost like that surrender space. I always want to be doing something because I feel like I'm just better at being productive. But what I'm saying is like in the path of my life, like I have a trust that the universe is lining it up for me as it should be. Almost like there is a plan.
Right.
Almost like there is a plan. Like let's say I'm manifesting becoming a millionaire before age 30. Like that's in my plan, let's say. And the universe is working on the hows behind the scenes, and I'm just going to, you know, hustle and bustle away as I normally do and just make sure that I'm happy and I am like energetically up leveling all the time towards that.
Yeah.
But I trust that the universe is like already intricately working for me.
And I think that's very similar to the way that I view it, which is my job is to decide what I want and to align myself with it through visualizing, through all the mindset stuff that we talk about on this podcast, and then surrender how it's going to come to the universe, or like surrender the specifics of how things are going to be lined up, the steps that are going to get me there, the right ideas, all of that. I'm surrendering and I'm trusting because I can't figure it out anyways, right? And every time I try, I totally fail.
Yeah.
So I think that that's very similar to what you are saying. And one thing that we talked about before starting this episode was whether or not there's like divine intervention.
So that's where it's like gets into the people, let's say, that are like put into your life to teach you lessons, to guide you along your way. Like sitting here right now, Laura, did you create me or did we decide before we entered onto planet Earth that we were going to be friends at this time in our life? We were going to meet, and this is the things we were going to do together. These are like the businesses that we were going to build, these types of things.
Well, and I don't know.
Yeah,
to be honest,
you don't. But like, I'm more on the side of like, I chose that Lauren was going to be in my life.
Right.
And I chose
like
that
soul contracts.
Soul contracts. I believe in this past life, future life.
Yeah, and it's not that I don't believe in it. I guess it's just like for me on a deeper level, what resonates is more of the Abraham message, which is like you're just always setting intentions and the universe is matching that with whatever it is that you are asking for. But then there's this other side of me too that like, let's say you are intending for the relationship that you want. The right people are going to come to you to show you what you are currently aligned with. So if you say, I want the love of my life, and you attract someone who is not it, well, they are showing you where you need to clean up your vibration, essentially. Your what you're currently aligned with. So you can say, okay, that guy was not the guy because this was what was missing for me. So now I can get more intentional in my visualizations and what I'm asking for, essentially. So that to me is sort of where the divine intervention comes in. And like one story I've told probably too many times is the story of manifesting my most recent apartment. But I looked for like 2 months and I kept thinking like, okay, I'm going to manifest this place that I want. But it took me 2 months to actually gain the clarity around what I really wanted through these places that I was seeing. And once I finally realized, okay, I've seen enough places and I'm realizing I'm just looking at the wrong places. This isn't what I actually want. I didn't even know what I wanted, or what I thought I wanted was not what was really going to be aligned for me with what I'm creating for myself moving forward. And as soon as I had enough clarity, I got intentional and the place manifested within a couple of days.
Yeah. So that's where I see, like, I visualize this as like a path, and the universe was like putting opportunities, putting things for you to look at, like apartments in your life path, so that you would be able then to like carve out what was actually meant for you, what was already chosen to be yours before you even knew.
Yeah. And I guess that's where I don't know if I really believe in that personally.
Yeah. But like even you saying that like strikes something in me, because I want to believe, let's say like the greatest love of my life is out there and it's already been chosen and it's my path to like find it.
So for me, I don't believe that there's one person. I believe that there are many different people who could fit what you are asking for, that you could have very successful, amazing soulmate love with. But I don't blame. And again, it kind of comes back to all the Abraham stuff. And that really has been like, I totally got into all this stuff through stumbling across an Abraham video on YouTube where she was being interviewed by Oprah. And I had this like huge light bulb moment where I was like, oh my God, it's not all just random. We create our lives and nothing has ever been the same. But everything Abraham teaches is like, you're setting intentions around the way that you want to feel. And there are thousands of people who could fit that need for you. The idea that there's like one person and like, I like the way that you view it as well. It's just for some reason for me on a deeper level, it's just not what I feel is my truth. It makes more sense to me that we come in. And I think that we do have intentions when we come in, like when we choose to come back to like another life experience. I totally do believe that. I believe our souls are always just evolving and learning, and that's why we're here. And I think that where you're at on your journey, if you're even someone who is conscious enough to be listening to this and understand what we're saying, you're fairly far along. Like you're a fairly like well-developed being.
Yeah. You cannot perceive what you're not in the vibration of.
Right, exactly. So people who are way further down the sort of self-development journey, they're just earlier on in their learning. So I think that like we do set intentions for what we want to learn in this lifetime.
Yeah.
I just don't really believe that it's like that it's all predetermined for us beforehand. I think we come in and we create it. We get to choose. I could tomorrow decide that instead of being a business coach, what I wanted was to be a movie actress, and I could go and manifest that if I wanted that.
You could manifest it, but there's like a resonation in the soul, right? Like your soul's calling you to do this work in business that like if you were just going to set up a challenge, like, okay, let's see if I can become a movie star in the next year. But like, does that resonate with you truly?
No. And actually that's a really interesting thing to bring up because something like Zoey and I often talk about is how the message that we share in our businesses so much, like through this podcast, for instance, it just comes through us. And I just feel so aligned when I'm like on a coaching call with a client and I just know what to say and I have no idea where it comes from.
It's such a beautiful thing.
I know. So that, I mean, that part of it is, I do think that people have specific gifts for sure. And I think maybe so for me, it's like a bit of a mix.
But then that way, like even as you're talking about this channeling, basically channeling from source.
Yeah.
There's a communication happening between you, your physical body, and the other side.
Yes, for sure.
So that's where it is divine intervention in a way.
Yeah, I mean, I do believe we each have different messages that we're meant to share with the world, and
like if you got an intuitive hit to share something with a client and you don't think twice about it, you just share it. And that really changes something for them. The universe wanted to use you as the vessel to communicate that message to another being.
Or like they're calling it out in me.
Well, yeah, then it's
about what they're creating, right? So they might be setting intentions around their business and I might have a piece of advice that's going to help get them there. And so they're attracting that through me, which is kind of the same thing.
But then like, then it gets super trippy here because you understand that the universe is so intricately designed. Like our brains can't even comprehend it.
Yeah.
And I mean, we can't even comprehend our own brains. And it's just so unique. Yeah. And that's why nothing is random. It can't be.
No, I don't believe anything is random. I guess I just wonder, like, so let's say I decided tomorrow I wanted to be a famous actress.
Yeah.
Who's to say that if that was what I truly decided I really wanted, that I couldn't channel something similar in that area because I'd set a strong intention and move towards it. So maybe that's not a good example because I have zero desire to be an actress, but maybe it's like I'm very creative. So what if I decided tomorrow that I wanted to start like a furniture restoration company? I've always loved that kind of thing. Who's to say that like that work wouldn't be channeled to me if I was setting a strong enough intention and saying, now I decide that this is what I want.
Yeah, I believe it would happen.
I do too.
Yeah.
I think that there'd be new gifts that came through me and I might completely move away from like what I'm doing right now. So I don't know. I'm just like, I could probably talk myself into wanting a different outcome or a different business as much as I want this one currently.
Yeah.
Because it's just where my thoughts are. So I think we can convince our brains of anything that we want, and we can manifest anything that we decide to manifest if we just, and like things will be aligned. So personally for me, it's like I am the complete creator of my reality and the universe aids me in doing that.
Yeah.
and I don't know. I like there's parts of the sort of divine intervention side of things that totally resonate with me, but it's just so secondary compared to this one way of looking at it that really resonates.
I definitely really maybe like I more on the side of the special relationship. I would say like I have with the universe. Like I would say that I feel like presences, or I like you know, this concept of like spirit guides or things like that. Like I feel that, but then is that just a synchronicity? Are you
manifesting it?
Am I manifesting that? Am I creating that? Because that's what makes me feel more humbled and more trusting on this planet, is the fact that I have support from
right. And
beings.
I totally embrace that as well. So I don't know about the beings side of things and I'm not saying it's wrong or anything.
Spirit guides?
I just never really even think about it. Like, I mean, Abraham actually does talk about there being energetic forces and beings, and it's just something I don't really know enough about. I haven't really invested it.
Let's go do some ayahuasca.
Zoe just is constantly like, Laura, you're
in my reality, I'm manifesting Laura.
Earlier today, I was like, well, so like, you know that I don't have to go to Costa Rica, like I could do ayahuasca in Ontario, and you were like, no, like you have to go to Costa Rica. In my reality, you go to Costa Rica to do ayahuasca, and I was like, well, that's fine, but in mine, I don't.
Yeah.
Anyways, but sometimes what I think about is signs, right? So people talk about getting signs from the universe, and
I love getting signs from the universe.
So to me, like, I always question, is that a sign or did you just manifest that? So like a friend of mine was talking about how she decided that a sign for her was a feather. Like when the universe wanted to tell her that she shouldn't be, that she was going down the wrong path, she would see a feather. And it did. I mean, she did start seeing feathers in bizarre places at bizarre times. But she'd also set the intention
that she was manifesting
feathers, and they were showing up in her reality.
So, yeah, that's where I find it interesting, because I love playing with signs from the universe. And, like, I use them as, like, the breadcrumbs. Like, I act as if that's the path for me. Like, okay, show me the sign if this is the right way to go. And then I follow that.
Yes.
So that in that way, I feel like I am communicating with the other side as, like, this is what's meant for me. Go here. Follow the ladybugs, if you will. Well, or follow the numbers.
And then, like, so I say that, I say, like, I always think that a sign is just me manifesting it. But then a couple of months ago, I think I might have told this story. I was walking down Yonge Street in Toronto, and this man stops me and tells me that he has like a message for me, and he reads my aura and predicts all these things about my life that were totally spot on. And in that moment, I was like, whoa, like,
but then you also set the intention for magic.
I had set the intention for magic that day of like, show me some of the magic.
So in that way, you're communicating with Source. Or did you manifest it?
I don't know.
I know, this is where it gets...
And maybe they're like one and the same, and this is a totally redundant conversation.
But it's so interesting, though, because really I'm on both sides. But I think I do resonate more with this whole, like, I love to view the world as magic.
Yeah.
Like that.
And I do, too. I totally do.
But I would say I live in magic.
Yeah. I guess it's just like, I see it as my magic. You see it as, like, the universe's magic.
Yes.
Right? And we are part of this crazy thing called the universe energy field, and we can access it. Yes. We can create that. We are like the vortex that it's all spinning around, right? So I don't know. I mean, I find a lot of comfort in the idea that like there's something bigger out there looking after me, if you will. But I also find that I lose some of my power. I feel I actually produce the biggest results in my business when I'm being like, this is my reality and this is how it's going to frickin' go. Yeah. Whereas when I've just surrendered in the past, oftentimes I don't get what I want. In fact, we had a conversation about that on one of our previous episodes where I surrendered a program launch that usually is very successful for me. And I didn't have intentions around it. I was just like, all right, universe, show me what can you do if I get out of the way completely? And I had like a third of the number of people sign up as I usually do. Whereas in the past, I've been very intentional and I'm like, this is what I want and it's going to happen. And it does. And so that's where it's like, there's kind of this part of me that's like, can I trust something bigger than me, or am I meant to step into this power? Which does really resonate with me.
Yeah, it both does, because in that concept of like, let's say manifesting people. So if I have an opening for a coaching client, I always get intentional. I'm like, universe, just bring me who it is who needs my messages right now. Like, I'm the vessel for you. The universe provides me with a new client, let's say, and it's so interesting how what they might be going through is mirroring or paralleling something in my own life, and they're my teachers. So it's like the universe answered like me wanting to help, but then also help me in return with a teacher. So
Yeah,
it's
but
like
that's
that
also
person was
just,
divinely chosen for me at this time.
but it's all about the energy that you're putting out there. So yes, but I think it's almost like giving a part of your power away in that, like, this person has been chosen for me instead of like, these were just the intentions that I was setting. So the perfect person showed up. Zoe like that. She's like, no, in my reality, it's magic.
In my reality, yeah.
And like, I don't know. I don't think that there's any like one right or wrong. It's whatever resonates with you guys.
Yeah, it's whatever resonates.
Totally. I guess I just, I guess I really, I feel like for a long time in my life, I didn't feel like a really powerful person.
Mm-hmm.
I guess I was really like, I just had a lot of insecurities when I was younger. And so the more I step into like, just this like badass way of being, the more things show up in my life. And I really like it because I was so, it's like me returning back to who I was meant to be.
Yes.
And so that feels so, so good for me. And I think maybe that's part of why it resonates. And the other things too, like sometimes when we talk about divine intervention, another way of looking at it. So let's say you know, I was actually just talking to someone in one of my groups this week about essentially the same thing that happened to me with apartment hunting, where she like applied for a place and like it was all a done deal, and then last minute it didn't go through, and like she was aligned with in terms of her belief of getting that apartment. And so it could be said that it's divine intervention and something better is going to come along, or there is something that is even more a match to the intention that she is setting, the energy that shows she's envisioning herself in her new place. And so is it divine intervention being like, nope, it's not that one? Or is it just that it's not actually as aligned with your intention, your energy as you think it is? There's something that's more of a match, and therefore that's what's going to be created in your life, attracted into your life.
Oh my God, it's all a hologram.
Yeah, so I don't know. I mean, I would love to hear from you guys if you are listening to this and you want to reach out to us. But I think it's like so interesting. And I also think for me, like I was not spiritual at all, even just 3 years ago. So my life has completely shifted when I found this side of looking at things of just like nothing is random. We create a reality. We are supported. There's just so much more going on than we could ever even comprehend. And I do believe there, like, we are supported. The universe is love, right? This energy field, this consciousness, it is love. So I'm not saying like that doesn't exist. I think about it all the time. I'm like, that was the reason I felt safe in like leaving my career. I just think I personally get to create my own reality, and that I'm supported in doing that.
Yeah.
And that the universe won't be like, well, you say you want this, but nope, you need this instead. Like I think that the universe is just like, whatever you want, I'm here for it. Yeah. And that is an Abraham thing. They say it's not wrong if it's what you want.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah. And what I can say to that is like, I love being the creator too, but I also love being guided by like a conscious, loving energy that I feel like I communicate with, if that makes sense. Like I love the magic of the mysterious unfolding of it all.
Yeah. I heard a quote recently that really, it was so interesting to me, and it's kind of a little bit dark because it's about Hitler, but which was that Hitler was as supported in his intentions as you are in yours. So the universe, being that it just supports you in whatever it is that you want to create in the world, will aid you in doing that. And I mean, look at someone like him and the devastation he caused. He had a lot of things working in his favor to make that happen. Yeah. Right. And so this is where it's like, I don't think the universe like distinguishes or discriminates rather one or the other. It's just about you get to create what you decide you want in your life. And so Zoe's like so like pensive right now. She's like staring at the floor as we're talking about
like this. Because it's hard though when you think about it like that, because I love to think of it as this like loving consciousness that's positive energy.
Well, I think it is.
I think it is too. I know that you're right though. It's like its intention is so powerful, right? But
I think it's that when you say it's a loving presence or consciousness, it's that in the universe's eyes or whatever, we can do no wrong, right? It just does not judge at all. It is unconditional love for us, regardless of what we want to create. Yeah. Bringing that down to a personal level, you could say that sometimes we attract undesirable things in our life to direct us in the direction of what we actually are asking for and create that. Or let's say, like for me, I struggled in the beginning of my business, but now all the things that I struggled with are what I'm able to help people with, like the clarity that I gained through things not going the way that I wanted to in the beginning. Like, was that divine intervention being like, okay, you say this is what you want to help people with. I'm going to equip you with the tools and the mindset and the understanding. And that needs to come to you through struggle, period. If I had just been successful right out of the gate, I wouldn't be the coach that I am now. But at the same time, I've seen coaches who are just so in alignment with where they want to go that it manifests for them really quickly and they don't have the struggle. So they cater to they serve different people, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know. There's a lot to consider with all of that.
Yeah, I feel like we've dove down.
Yeah. Oh, and we could just keep talking about it, but I don't know. It's a really I mean, I think for me, at a base level, we are love. Consciousness is love. This is Einstein has some quote about, whether or not you see the universe as being a positive or a negative place or a loving, or I don't remember what it is exactly, but you get to decide. And I think what you're saying, Zoe, is that you see it in love and you see it in magic. And I definitely do as well. I just see it as like my life is more a reflection of what I decide I want to create, and I'm aided in that. Whereas you're a little bit more like letting more of the decisions or more of the intentions be set by something outside of you.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah. Like I have my intentions for like my best, most abundant life.
Yeah.
But like, show me the way. Like, let it be fun. Let it be magical, surprising. I like this. Like, I like it. I like to think about my life as this movie. Like, I think that's how.
Well, it is. Yeah. It's all projection, so it might as well just be like a projector onto like one of those old school screens. Anyways, I love this topic. I think it's really interesting, and I don't know. I think for me, like the further I get into my spirituality, the more I do embrace that there's something outside of me or something bigger than me that I'm a part of that I can really choose to lean on. I also think too that the book, The Surrender Experiment, he definitely talks about how the ideas that come his way and the businesses. So it's a story about a man who just lives his whole life in surrender, and he ends up building like a $500 million tech business despite never having like owned a computer. And so that book is sort of about how divine intervention really did choose his path for him, but he was still setting intentions.
Yes.
Right? So the universe will fill in more of the details for you, and you can choose how specific you get with your intentions or how broad you are with them. In fact, at the end of the book, because he attracts a lawsuit and has to go like for 6 years is being sued by, a previous employee or something like that. And I remember at the end of the book thinking, how did someone that lived in that much surrender and flow attract something that awful? But then he says, the only real intention I had for my life was that I would become less ego and more higher self or whatever, was that I really separate myself from the ego. And that's how the book starts, is he moves into the woods to meditate. And so I think, well, if your intention was that you wanted to move away from ego, you would manifest something as difficult as a 6-year lawsuit because you had to completely surrender in that scenario.
Yeah. Where my brain kind of goes in that is that before he chose to enter into this life, he chose some lessons to learn. And that's how it had to present itself, because it was time.
And maybe it's a bit of both. Who knows? Yeah. Anyways, thank you guys so much for listening to this episode. We really hope you enjoyed. We'd love to hear your thoughts.
Yeah. Do you like these little esoteric tangents?
We do. We think they're fun.
Yeah. We'll see you guys again soon.
Talk to you later. Thank you guys so much for spending a piece of your day with us and tuning into the Lo and Zo Show.
If you enjoyed this episode, please be sure to rate it and share on social media. Be sure to tag us.
Until next time,
stay abundant.